technical abilities and backgrounds, right?
True.
Not necessarily archaeologists, although archaeologists do and could listen to the show, but also not necessarily people who are, in the business at all. They could be just interested in archaeology. So I want to talk about how things happen in certain times.
Especially
So one of those,
Oh.
So one of those things is, I just got a project. My company DigTech just won a project. We didn't win it. We actually won the project like a year ago. It's a big military thing that goes for 5 years, and then if something shows up within that 5 years that the military needs done, they go to the people who won the project, usually the 5 different companies. They look at these tables you fill out, and they say, okay, so this is the cheaper one for this kind of project, and they're going to do it, and you don't have a choice. You have to do it. Well, you can turn it down, but then the likelihood of them giving you the next thing that comes up is actually really remote from what I've heard.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, so you have the ability to turn it down because, let's just face it, maybe you're already working on like a 80,000 acre project and you can't do another one, right? So they give you the ability to say no, but it doesn't look good, right? You can't say no too many times. This is literally the first survey project that's come around in this 5-year, it's called an IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, which means you don't know how much you're going to get and you don't know, how often it's going to come. So, but there is a cap on the cost that they can spend on this, and I think it's $200 million. So that's a lot of money. But anyway, this project came around.
Sorry.
I think Richie might be live.
Well, I have been live, but it's not official until it's weird. It's like a 2-part thing where it's the phone and then my PC.
Yeah. So anyway, it's interesting because I get this call Tuesday, I think it was. What is today? Friday? I get this call Wednesday. I guess it was Tuesday. And it's from a guy that I've worked with before at this company. And I can't give any specifics because this is a military project. And there's probably quite a few things. Like I talk about a few military projects I did about 5 years ago because the time is beyond and past, right? So I can talk about those. So, for example, I did work on the China Lake Naval Weapons Center. If I were ever to work on there again, I probably couldn't talk about it until, a year later. So
you can talk about stuff like when we were... Oh, wait, we're talking about China Lake.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just mentioning that. I also worked on another Navy base, El Centro, and that's the one you worked on.
That's what I was actually thinking of.
Yeah, so we worked on El Centro and China Lake. That's examples of what the type of thing is that I'm going to be doing now and the type of project I'm getting. So if you remember me talking about that stuff on some various podcasts or my blog or whatever, then think back to that, and it's the same thing. But anyway, so I get this call, and this is how archaeology happens, people. I get this call, and the guy's like, we won this, we got to do this 1,200 acre survey, and it's got to be done yesterday. like he's like, the time frame is super tight.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So, and let me just tell you what's going through my head when I think that.
Yeah.
As an archaeologist, my first thought is, great. I get to go out, do some survey, do some, I've been kind of staying out of that kind of thing for a while.
Yeah.
Purposely, but I can't stay out of this because I got on this contract well before I decided to kind of back away from all this.
Well, that's true. Well, that was like, my God, that was like almost when you first started your company, practically.
No, that was the first one. This is the second one. This is a new one.
No, but I meant, interesting. I think I just lost my train of thought.
I think you did. So anyway, so he calls me, and the first thing that's going through my head is great. I get to do some archaeology. I know the area that it happens to be in because I've done work there before, and this should be a pretty simple deal. No more than probably 10 days to finish all the field work. Plus, it's a good deal for me because there's a prime contractor, and the prime contractor also wants to make money. And the way that they do that is they write the report. There's usually a little bit... the report writing takes longer. There's usually more money in the field work and less in the report. I guess it just depends on the size of the report, the size of the field work, I guess. But usually the bigger chunk is on the fieldwork side because you've got more people working on it. With the report, you might only have 2, but with the fieldwork, we're going to have 4. So just from an hours standpoint, you're looking at more people to do that. Plus, they want this done within the next couple months, which is going to be they want the final report by early May, like the final report.
Although this time you'll be there when it's not like a bajillion degrees.
Yes. So. Anyway, so we're looking at that, and it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be real fun. I think I'm bringing down one person in the interest of I guess playing nice with others. The company that is the prime is going to supply some of the equipment, and they're going to supply a couple of people too. So they're going to get some payroll because it's good because they have to keep their people employed, and I was fine with that. I could manage the entire crew if I wanted to and bring all my people down because that's my prerogative.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, you guys, I don't even want to deal with multiple instances of payroll. I mean, payroll would be fine, but let's be honest, I'm a small company, and if I were to cover payroll just for one session for 4 people rather than just 2 people,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at covering probably about $20,000 in that amount of time, because
Wow.
I've got not only 4 people to pay for, but per diem as well. And per diem on this project is $157. So that times 10 is $1,057. Times 4 is like $4,200. And then you've got salaries for 4 people,
Well, that's true.
at least $25 an hour.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the pay rate would be, but I gotta imagine it's around 25 that they're going to be paying. So anyway, yeah, and not only that, but it's not $25 an hour for me. If I'm paying Richie $25 an hour, it's costing me $50 an hour. So that's the general rule right there. I mean, his taxes, he's going to pay 30% in his own taxes, but I also pay that 30% in addition to that. But then out of that hourly rate comes all my overhead expenses.
And
So
that's something a lot of people, especially in the lower ranks, do not understand.
yeah, totally.
Because
Yeah.
I remember, I'm not going to mention the company or the project, but oh no. Anyway,
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, what just happened.
but basically, this one person found out what what the company was charging for them,
Yeah,
and they got super angry, and they almost started a crew mutiny because they thought, oh, they're charging a client X number of dollars for us, therefore we should get all of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, this person just did not understand the way that the economics worked.
right.
You know.
I mean, let me put it out here. So at my level, as principal investigator, and this is a small project, and a lot of times we would have other people doing these things. Like the last time I was on a bigger project, I guess we technically had some person who was our safety representative. They had to take the OSHA 10-hour training and be CPR certified, which I have to have.
Oh,
But here's the thing.
I remember that actually.
The OSHA 10-hour,
Yeah.
good for 5 years. And I looked, and the last time I took the OSHA 10-hour
Yeah.
was for that El Centro project I was mentioning.
Yeah.
And mine expires April 2nd. Our field work should finish about a week before that.
Oh my God.
So I don't have to take it again, which is fantastic.
I forget what airport it is, but I was recently watching a blog where for some reason they had a CPR training machine in the airport
Oh,
next
wow.
to the bathroom, which I thought was
Yeah.
really unusual.
That is unusual. So anyway, just talking about the project a little bit more. So that's kind of how the secret sauce is. I was getting ready to mention. So as a principal investigator, plus the safety person, the health and safety representative, plus I've got like 3 other titles. I think there's like 4 total, to be honest.
Seriously?
Field director. I'm field director. I'm a PI on this project officially. So principal investigator, and then I'm the safety person, and I'm something else. I don't even know what. But because of that, my hourly billable rate, the rate that I'm going to bill the company, that is the prime contractor, and the prime contractor will bill the Navy for this. But the rate that I'm billing out is $70 an hour, which is pretty low actually for
Yeah.
archaeology. But it's because I have not a ton of overhead. I'm not running like a huge company with
No.
all these building rent to pay and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I have building rent to pay. I pay for the space, but
Yeah, but not the whole building.
not the whole building. No. So because of that, let's just look at half of that. I think
Yeah.
$30 to $35 an hour, if you were to look at an hourly rate for a PI, is probably relatively standard, if not probably low.
Yeah.
Because you look at like a $40 an hour salary would be $80,000 a year, which is
Yeah.
not out of the realm of possibility for a PI. That's
Yeah.
about what they should be getting. So $70 an hour puts me at about $35 an hour. 70 billable puts me at about 35, which is, again, right in line with where that probably should be for that level.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll pay myself, and then I'll have to pay my taxes, which my taxes are going to be higher because I don't do payroll for myself. I basically just do a withdrawal, and I pay taxes on the income that my company makes.
Yeah.
And my pay is considered an expense. So
Yeah.
actually, it's better for me to do that than putting myself on payroll, because then I do actually pay taxes twice. DigTech, my company, would pay taxes on my
That's
payroll,
true.
and I would pay taxes on my payroll. But this way, I only pay taxes on the income that I bring in.
Ah.
Now I'm going to bring in like 15,000 in income in this 10 days, but I'm
Ah.
paying out like 7 or 8 just in salary and for myself and my employee and per diem, plus
Yeah.
my truck. And my truck has expenses as well.
Well, that's true.
So
That's why I'm not using mine right now.
yeah, well there you go.
Well, that and the fact that it's sunny and nice outside.
Well, so anyway, there's a lot of costs involved, and that's how it's all covered. So anyway, so that's going to be fun. I got some more I want to talk about on this project, but let's take
Oh.
for the podcast audience, we're going to take a short break, and we will be back for segment 2 in just a second. All right, we're back. And for the live audience, they didn't take a break at all. But for
Yeah.
the podcast audience, we are back. And so I want to talk about the archaeology down in, yeah, well, it's
Ridgecrest.
near Ridgecrest.
Well,
So,
down in that part of like the valley.
yeah, I'm not on China Lake again. That's the actual truth. If I were, I'd probably tell you anyway, because I don't think they're paying attention to this podcast. But
Yeah.
I'm near there, right?
Yeah.
So the archaeology is going to be the same in the Eastern Mojave
Yeah.
for that area. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, because it got me thinking about Ridgecrest again, because I'm pulling up a lot of documents and things that we used in that area, because they're all going to be similar.
Yeah.
And it made me think, so China Lake is not actually a lake anymore. It's dried up. There's no lake there.
Yeah.
And the Navy base there is called China Lake Naval Weapons Center. But I don't know if you even know this, but do you know where they got that name?
Well, I know it used to be like a dry lake bed. I
Yeah,
think,
but do you know why it's called China Lake?
Not really.
Yeah, so, and it still is a dry lake bed, but it was called China Lake because from what I understand, in the late 1800s,
Yeah.
even early 1900s, there was water that would pool there, and I don't think it was there year round, but it
Yeah.
was, if you had heavy rains, then there would be water and there would be a little bit of a lake there,
Yeah.
Nice, one of those big, flat, shallow ones. And I can't remember what the resource they were pulling out was, but a huge Chinese contingent settled there
Really?
to do work around China Lake and produce things and then sell them. And again, I can't remember exactly what that industry was, but on the old maps, it's actually called Chinaman Lake.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Wow. How far back do you have to do for that?
I don't know, but I remember seeing it when we were doing research. And on the old map, so it's called Chinaman Lake, and we might have seen that in the base museum when we went there last time, but it was, at some point they changed it to China Lake, probably wisely so. And but that was why, because the Chinese had settled around there.
Ah.
So that's why it's called China Lake. So one cool thing that would be to find in that area would be evidence of the Chinese settlements. But I have a feeling they're just not there anymore.
It depends, because every time I've been down there, we've found like lots of stuff.
Yeah, but the Chinese have very specific artifacts. Like you always find like opium tins and stuff like that when you find stuff associated with the Chinese.
That's true.
Yeah, and I've never
Ah.
found anything like that. Even like when we worked around, we've worked in Tonopah before,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of Chinese there, but I think it was more in Tonopah. They weren't, from what I understand. I mean, obviously there were probably Chinese in the mines, but the Chinese were more support roles in the city of the town of Tonopah, and so they were opium dens and stuff like that there, and that's what they would run. So that's where their cultural material would be. But yeah, who knows? Anyway, so that's archaeology down in the Eastern Mojave. That's what I was going to talk about. And there's it's another cool thing around that dry lake bed. You can kind of see, if you look on aerial maps, the paleo shorelines.
Yeah.
Around there, and it's like textbook. That's where you find the 4,000 to 8,000 year old artifacts.
Well, I mean,
know?
they're you can see all the stratigraphy around there pretty clearly.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of lakes that were down there.
Yeah. Pretty much any flat spot and in a period of heavy rain turned into a lake.
Oh my God, it's such a mild winter. It makes me wonder if the snakes are going to be out early.
Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, when we were actually on that China Lake base 5 years ago, man, it was a mixture of dodging bombs and snakes. And I don't remember seeing that many snakes down in El Centro. It was too dry, I think. Did we see some? Yeah.
Including one, well, I'm not going to talk about it now, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that snake. I remember that snake. Yeah. So, anyway, that person will likely be on this crew for 1 or 2 days.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
It'll be interesting though, because normally this time of the year it'd be like a relief. Like last year when when you and I were down in God, we were down in El Centro, weren't we? Last
Oh
year.
yeah,
This
last
time.
April.
Yeah, it was like a relief to go from
Yeah.
Reno to there, because like, oh, such a complete weather change. But this year, it's hardly any different.
No, it shouldn't be.
No, at all. It's
Yeah.
like crazy. Like, you know, I'm not even joking. Like today I rolled around with my convertible top down again, which, you know, I I don't think I've ever been able to do that in any other February I've been living in Reno.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Which is really crazy.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's what I've got for that.
Yeah.
I want to talk real quick about this camera.
Yeah.
So,
Which we can't see.
which we can't see. You can see the image that it's providing. If you want
Yeah.
to see this from the Archaeology Show podcast audience,
Yeah.
head over and check out episode 75 of the Archaeology Show. You call this Archaeology.
Yeah.
And you'll find it by going over to Archaeology Podcast Network Facebook page, which is at facebook.com/arcpodnet. Click on videos, and
Yeah.
then you'll see the episode 75. We've got two episode 73s because we liked it so much, and then 75.
Oh, interesting. Because I've been doing a lot of relabeling. I've been doing a lot of cleaning up on the YouTube end
Yeah,
of Happy
time to-
Archaeology Fun Time.
Time to clean that one up, too. Yeah.
I know. Well, no, I did it last night.
Yeah. I don't think you can rename the Facebook videos once they're shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
interesting. That's
I've
like
looked
one of the
into it.
that's like one of the famous things you can do on YouTube.
Yeah. Anyway, so talking about this camera here, I've been looking around. Been watching a lot of. So here's the thing: I've been watching a lot of videos, of like travel and adventure videos.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah. Really, for me, they've been more focused around people who live aboard boats, and then they go around and they do stuff. And a lot of times, because these channels are, I guess, being served up to me by YouTube, they're popular already. And I've tried to take some of the other ones that are kind of like related to those, and you know, it's like anything. The popular channels have usually two consistent things. Well, maybe three consistent things.
Yeah.
The first one, obviously, is regularity. They release every week. Every single
Yeah.
week, sometimes more than once a week, but definitely at least once a week. The second one is the hosts are charismatic. You know, they're just like people that you like. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just like in general people that you like. You know,
Oh my god, it's like a video I found. It's like a video series I found where I never intend on going to Disneyland,
yeah,
but it's a very popular YouTube channel called Ordinary Adventures, where these two people who have annual passes
Mhm.
to Disneyland just go there and like try out new things. Like, oh, this is what's new in the gift shop, and
Nice.
this is like the new food that they've got for this special night and whatnot.
yeah,
And the crazy part is they get hundreds of thousands of views, and they've already gotten, like, Disney apparently noticed them and like gave them free tickets and, you know, airfare to like Orlando.
Well, and see, that's what I'm talking about. That's the other thing is if you're talking about the right subject,
Yeah.
then people are just going to flock to it. And Disneyland, since so many people go to Disneyland, they probably, you know, the savvier ones will Google or YouTube search just Disneyland. And if
Yeah.
these guys have enough views and stuff, they're probably going to come up. And
Yeah.
it's a great way to just review what you're doing.
But oh my god, some of the views. I mean, I forget if we talked about this in past live streams, but I mean, some of the YouTube channels I follow are like, I can't believe how many, like, you know, there's a YouTube
Yeah.
channel I follow dedicated to nothing but keyboards, vintage keyboards, and like discussing the switches on the keyboards and how
Right.
they feel, and doing ASMR where he's just typing on the keyboards, and I'm like, my god, you already have over 100,000 subscribers, and you're
It's
getting
insane.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
like,
insane.
wow. And yet, I can't get that many people interested on what to do, like how to get an archaeology job or what to do.
It's because how many people actually want that? That's what I'm talking about. You
It
know,
de-
there's
depends though.
it doesn't depend. There's maybe less than 20,000 people who want that and can actually get it.
True, but I can, you know, but if someone can make keyboards popular, then maybe I could just by the force of personality can make archaeology popular. on
Maybe,
YouTube.
but I think you're going to need another hook. You know, you'd have to do something like, you know, I don't know what it would be, but you'd
Yeah.
need something else.
Well, the thing is that I've been watching. I mean, you know, not to get too much in the weeds, but I've, you know, obviously I check the app, the YouTube Studio app,
Mhm.
and one of those things I noticed is that as the weeks have gone by, because I realized I haven't uploaded a whole lot of videos that aren't live streams yet. But with each video, especially now that I've started incorporating the videos where I'm doing it on DaVinci Resolve as opposed to Premiere Pro, like the engagement, the amount of time people are watching is actually going up.
Hmm.
And I've also learned that the target for minutes watched is like half.
Mhm.
And I don't think anyone, not even someone like Marquez Brownlee, gets to half.
Yeah,
And so far on the video I just released Wednesday, it's already gotten up to like almost 45%, which I was really impressed by. I'm like,
Yeah.
thank God.
nice. Well, and that was the other thing I was going to mention as a necessity for a successful like YouTube channel is
Yeah.
it engaging subject.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got good hosts, you've got good video. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like an unspoken fourth one, right? You got to
Yeah.
have good video and good audio,
Yeah.
and you have to make all that look good. You have to put some effort into it, but it has to be entertaining. Like my wife and I have been sitting, rather than watching Netflix for like the past few weeks, we've been binging this YouTube channel. It's insane. We've never actually done that before,
Really?
and yeah, we just don't sit there and just do that. But I finally
Wow.
got her interested in something that I'm interested in, and we're able to just sit there and watch it. And partly because the hosts are very engaging. They're very entertaining.
Ah.
They seem like good people. They seem like just normal, average people
Yeah.
that are living an extraordinary life, and it's inspiring me to say, you know, give it all up and you know, go buy a boat and live on it.
And interesting. Well, I mean, you're not going to keep the boat you've got for a while.
That's not a liveaboard.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Because I was
So,
thinking, man, it seems like it has a pretty big fan base as far as like the manufacturer.
you mean of mine?
Yeah.
The Mirage boat? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. It's got a pretty dedicated small fan base, I guess.
Yeah.
But oh, Chuck says, "Good looking haircut, Chris." I actually got a haircut today. I don't
Really?
know. I don't know how you could tell that, but that must be the sharp image from that GoPro. Yeah, it was like literally an hour and a half ago. Anyway, so what was I saying?
Yeah. We're talking about YouTube. We're talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
channel
yeah.
and
So
the
the other
camera.
thing is, you know, along with those good subject lines, and this is why I want to bring it up on this show,
Yeah.
is I think that you can make, I think you can make good and engaging travel style videos with a history focus.
Of course you can.
You know, yeah, and I know people are doing it,
Yeah.
but I think you have to pair that with. I think you have to pair that with something that people are just flocking towards as well. That if you want, if your goal is to monetize this and really, you know,
True.
make a living out of it, right? Which if you're going to do this full time, you're going to make you're going to have to make a living out of it because some of these people, sometimes behind the scenes, this couple, they put out a weekly video. They said they spend sometimes 15, 20, 25 hours a week editing that video. You know,
Really? Oh my god! I was just
Yeah.
gonna, like today. I was just gonna mention, obviously I can mention it right now, but sometimes I feel like I don't have enough hours in the day
yeah,
for editing.
well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, mostly. Although
Yeah.
I have to admit, I do find it now that I'm switched to DaVinci Resolve. It's like a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at is you know, putting together stuff like that and putting together stuff that so that my focus obviously would be doing something that's a little more historically focused and covering those sorts of things.
Oh, and it'll be
But
even
then-
accurate, I assume.
Well, of course, but then also doing it using another medium that people are just flocking towards as well. Like for example, if we decide to, you know,
Yeah.
get an RV before we get a boat, do you know how
Ah.
many people like just sit there and binge RV travel videos because they're
Oh.
interested in that lifestyle?
Wait, you mean RV
Um,
or like the van life?
Oh, vans are too small. I mean RV.
All right.
Yeah, like 40-foot RV.
Ah.
And then
Oh.
there's boats as well. I mean, people just some of these boating channels that are just not very good. You know, like either the hosts are not very good, or the video's not very good, or just the whole presentation. Maybe I don't like the boat. Maybe that's garbage. I don't know, but they still have like 100,000 subscribers.
It's like some
You
of
know?
these faux history channels that I follow. Like they're like literally, I can just like make up whatever I want about anything. That's like the point of view I've gotten. As long as
Yeah.
you use enough confusing words for
Right.
people, and talk about like I don't know, like how the Peruvians didn't actually build, those
Mhm.
walls, like. Because there's no way ancient Peruvians or any brown person can come up with a straight line on
Yeah.
a rock. That's like
Yeah.
impossible. So
Yeah.
there was obviously a predecessor civilization that they killed out and pushed
Clearly.
out.
Clearly, either ancient white people or aliens.
See? And this dude, like I was watching, oh god, I forget his name, but so many views and so many people saying, "Thank God, the real truth comes out," and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's depressing.
yeah. So anyway, I think that's what I've got. I do want to take.
Yeah.
Well, we're taking this new camera. I just got it in yesterday, so I haven't
Ooh.
actually used it yet.
Yeah.
So as you're listening to this, it's February. Well, it's Valentine's Day. It's February
Yeah.
14th, and my wife and I are going to go out to our. We've got our boat in a slip in Pittsburgh, California.
Yeah.
And we're going to go out there tomorrow. She's got to teach a class
Oh.
tomorrow afternoon, so we're going to go after that. So we're going to get there a little late, but we're going to take it out. And I want to do. I think I can do some kind of cool stuff too, because I've got that new
Ah.
DJI Mavic Mini,
Yeah.
and I haven't done this yet because I'm always so antsy to just get out there. Elizabeth says we need more shows about real history. She's right. And Elizabeth, this is what I'm getting to. Stuff that's all around us is what I want to talk about. Not just the big fancy stuff.
Yeah.
The big buildings, the big structures, the big things. I want to talk about the stuff that's literally just all around us. And so we're going to start doing this by. It's going to be experimental this weekend. No one's going to see it. I'm going to probably cut it together just to play around. Maybe I'll throw it up
Interesting.
on my regular YouTube channel, but
Yeah.
I want to do stuff like, taking my drone and putting it up high and showing us coming out of the marina, and also
Yeah.
maybe talking a little bit about the history of the marina where we're at, because there's a lot of history right there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go up the Delta, and that's what Elizabeth said, or Liz, the everyday stories. So then we're going to go up to Delta, and we do have a destination in mind. There's an anchorage, a really cool anchorage that I've heard about, that you can just go up there, spend the night and
Oh.
marked anchorages on the marine maps are typically places where, with different winds and currents and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and maybe noise, all that's going to be less, and you're going to have a nice,
Ah.
comfortable night. So it's a good place
Yeah.
to anchor. I mean, technically, you can kind of just anchor anywhere as long as you're not in the channel. But there's certain places where the current's going to be more stiff, or maybe there's not a good place to put your anchor down.
Yeah.
You're going to get it caught up on pipes or wires or something. So
You know what's interesting? I remember, was it last week where you went up to the winery? Are there?
we went to Napa a couple weeks ago on the boat.
Is there are there any wineries that are just like right on the water?
There we could see vineyards from the water, but there was nothing we could just get out of the boat and access, because they didn't have docks.
That's
You know.
interesting because you figure they'd want to take advantage of everything.
Well, here's the thing. So when we go up the Delta tomorrow and Sunday,
Yeah.
we're going to be able to. We know for a fact, because
Yeah.
we've driven basically next to the channel that we're going to take, and there's all these little ones, and
Yeah.
there's wineries all over the place out there,
Ah.
and not a single one of them have like dock access. And unless we're watching satellite views, we're not going to know where they're at, because the dikes are so high
Of
on
course.
either side. So.
Yeah.
We're down in the channel following the map, and it's hard to tell what's around you.
Interesting. You gonna bring your electric bike?
No,
Hmm.
it doesn't fit on the boat. It's just too
Ah.
big. Yeah, but I'm going to take, like I said, the drone and get some nice overhead footage, because I think that adds a nice element to the videos. A lot of the good YouTube channels I watch for travel, they have a lot of good drone footage because it helps get that perspective.
Yeah. And don't forget
Um,
footage of you driving.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
know?
I mean, you got to include all that. That's the other thing I noticed that really pulls all this together and makes it a little more personal, is that stuff that you wouldn't think to film.
Yeah.
And I've always been this way with movies, and I'm this way with YouTube videos too. I always kind of ruin movies for myself, because I'm just sitting there watching, trying to think, how did they get that shot?
Yeah.
And then I'm just like thinking about the behind the scenes of it without actually really paying attention. And I do the same with YouTube videos, like this one couple that I follow, that I've been mentioning the whole time here. They'll do stuff like, they're sitting on a beach or something like that, and then you see them walking off into the distance, and maybe they'll do a time lapse or something.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, but they got to go back and get that camera.
Of course. I was just doing that yesterday.
I mean, but that's what makes a good video,
Yeah. Like sometimes
So-
I don't think people appreciate how much goes into those B-rolls. Like yesterday, oh my god, I didn't this weather is like bringing everyone out.
Mhm.
I went up to, oh god, what is it? Steamboat Ditch. It's just
Yeah.
up.
I know what that's at.
Yeah. And there were so many damn dog walkers. I set up my camera and was gonna get B-roll of me like riding around. Like so many B-roll, so many of these dog walkers just congregated like
Yeah.
at this one sign. So I was like waiting. They're like, "Oh, hey, can we help you film?" I'm like, "No, you can go away."
Yeah, exactly.
It's really
So-
interesting though. I'm not sure, obviously you've only had the GoPro for a day, but in the weeks that I've had a GoPro, like I have like a tiny little bendy tripod,
Hmm.
and then I stick the GoPro on that, and it's tiny, the whole package, and a battery because it's the same size battery as the one you got.
Yeah.
They keep the batteries the same size. I literally just take it with me on a run, whether I'm intending to film anything or not, because it's
Yeah.
like so small and so light. I don't
It
even
doesn't weigh
notice.
anything.
Yeah. And so as a consequence, I've been getting a lot of videos when I'm out running.
Nice.
And I do have a story about that as soon as we get onto that.
Yeah. Chuck mentioned here that he used to train out in the Delta.
Ooh.
He's a competition cyclist, so
Ah.
he used to train out in the Delta, and he said there's a lot of excellent boat Delta maps. There are indeed. I've
Yeah.
downloaded a bunch of them to my iPad. So
Oh, wow. Interesting. I wonder what Chuck's opinion on gravel bikes are and whether they're just cyclocross bikes.
yeah, rebranded cyclocross bikes. Yeah. So, all right, let's take one more quick break here for the podcast audience, and we will be back shortly to wrap up this episode of the Archaeology Show with myself and Richie Cruz. All right, we're back, and Chuck linked in a nice little Delta map here. I'm going to see if I have that
Yeah.
one and click on that later. But then also, Josh Dunn joined.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Speak of the devil, Josh Dunn.
Yeah.
We were just talking about China
man.
Lake and El Centro, and Josh knows all about those two projects.
Also, just thinking that makes me want to Ballast Point.
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
But if we wanted to go on with filming GoPro footage,
Yeah, yeah.
I can talk about what happened Monday.
Yeah.
Monday was a beautiful day, and so I just, like normal, I just stick the GoPro and a battery in my pocket, and I'm running around.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you have to picture, it's hard to picture on a podcast or if you're not familiar with Reno, but usually on Mondays it's my short run, so I run up California.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who aren't familiar with it, California is like a hill that is like a street that goes uphill.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Pretty steep for a little bit too.
yeah. And the thing is, there are a couple of abandoned lots there, or like they're just like, I don't know, there's like no one's building a house there.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, that would make a great view because it's like got a view of like the Truckee River below and then downtown Reno
Yeah.
and all that. And I've recorded a few videos there before.
Yeah.
And the thing is, so I set up my camera, and I'm starting to talk, and I'm talking and talking. And then, and people have to understand that, I'm way up high and I don't think anyone can see me. And then I start hearing it as I'm talking. I start
Yeah.
hearing some dude like swearing, and I'm thinking, oh God, is there someone right below me? Because, obviously I'm like, what, 8-10 stories above the Truckee River
Oh,
right
jeez.
below.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wow, maybe there's someone on the hillside. And so and then, as I'm looking around, the swearing stops.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start again, and the swearing starts again. So I'm looking again, and this goes on for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then I look across the street, there's a dude on the other side of the Truckee. So, right near the Keystone overpass.
Yeah.
And for people at home who can't picture this, so I'm like 8 or 10 stories up, and about maybe a block, maybe 2 blocks away from where he is. So for me to hear him that clearly, and more importantly for my camera to pick up every word he's saying,
Yeah.
he literally has to be screaming at the absolute top of his lungs. And it's like this homeless dude with a couple of dogs, and every time I talk, he says "you," and I'm not gonna say the words he said, but he
Yeah.
was like saying many, many, many terrible words, and I actually incorporated some of them into like the very beginning of the video I edited last night. But yeah, and I should point out that he's like on the grounds, like he and his dogs are on the grounds of like I think it's a middle school that's right next to the overpass there.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like screaming, and I'm just like, well, whatever. And I actually said this on the video at one point. I'm like, well, I've got lots of memory card and lots of batteries.
Nice.
And it was practice. So I just kept practicing my lines over and over and just like stopping, starting,
Yep.
stopping, starting. And I was there for almost an hour. He's like screaming for almost an hour. And I should point out that it was like right around the time school let out. So there were definitely kids and staff in that school.
Yeah.
And the interesting part is that when I went for my run Wednesday, there were many, many like homeless possessions around the river,
Mm-hmm.
but no homeless people.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming that either the business owners, like that restaurant or that coffee shop or whatever that's down on Riverside Drive,
Yeah.
or maybe the school administrators were like, "There's some crazy homeless person screaming at the top of his lungs," and so they went and swept up.
Yeah. Maybe.
And more importantly, for people at home who can't picture it, like Reno doesn't have like a Central Park or Golden Gate Park, but that like whole stretch of the Truckee River is like the equivalent of it.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, it's like the nicest park in town,
Mhm.
and it runs right through the heart of the tourist district. And I assume that that's the sort of place where the city doesn't want like homeless people screaming at people.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's also interesting. I thought it was gonna be a super short video, but actually when I edited it out last night, not even incorporating any B-roll, it ended up being 8 minutes. Like most of these videos are ending up being about 10 minutes, which is surprising me.
That's a good length though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm amazed at there's one point where I'm talking about the wind. I'm like, damn, the stupid wind, and you can't even hear it on the audio.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good cameras. Good audio these days.
Yeah. And the only
So-
thing is that I did buy some wind material, like the same material that's on these mics,
Yeah.
that I was gonna put over the mic holes.
Yeah.
And I've been too lazy to get the double-sided tape to like put it on yet.
Yeah. David Ian Howe of the Life in Ruins podcast
Oh,
joined
yeah.
us, and he put on hashtag investigate Carlton Gover, who's also a host of the Life in Ruins podcast. Speaking of archaeology things and videos,
Yeah.
I recently I recorded just as to kind of kick it back off again because the whole if you're familiar with Team Black, it's an outgrowth of this thing that actually Josh was a part of for a while called Professional Certifications for Scientists, or PCS.
Yeah.
And actually, it all kicked off in China Lake 5 years ago. To be
Oh.
honest, yeah, actually almost 6 years ago.
And I noticed your
Um,
Instagram. You're Instagramming from that account again.
Yeah, well, I started doing some things. I have videos up over there, but I haven't really been able to continue to produce content for that
Yeah.
like I wanted to. So I wasn't really promoting it if I wasn't going to be really putting content into it.
Yeah.
Because when you go to the now Carlton and David are talking on the thing here. So no, when you go to the Team Black page,
Yeah.
it's actually instead of because we had talked about this a long time ago, talked about doing like because you can't do this stuff for free.
Yeah.
I mean, it just can't, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there has to be a cost to it. So instead of doing like some sort of I don't know member thing on that site, we just did Patreon. And so
Ah.
now the videos are up on Patreon. So when you see them on the Team Black page at arccert.black, ARCHCERT.black, there's no www. When you click on one of the images, it actually takes you to the Patreon page and then prompts you to, I guess, subscribe at the level you want. The thing I like about that is you can do it for just a month if you want and then shut it down. You don't have to get like a membership or something like that. You can just support us for a month, watch all the videos you want, and then shut it down,
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And for they're super cheap. It's like $5 or $10 a month or something like that. And if you want to continue to support and take a look at the videos, I'm hoping to be putting them out it's somewhat weekly at this point.
Ah.
And because I decided to start doing that, I want to start getting more eyeballs on there. And one of the ways I found to do that, so Vimeo is where I've been hosting this stuff.
Wait, really?
Yeah, and Vimeo is where there's a reason for that. I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh.
Vimeo is also where I host my podcast workshop for Chris Webster Productions. I finished that last weekend as well.
Ah.
So now that whole entire workshop is online. So if you're interested in podcasting, go to propodcastnow.com.
Yeah.
And I got this whole, I do a 9-hour workshop here in Reno once a month, which now that
Yeah.
that workshop is online, I'm going to be knocking that down to probably 4 times a year, maybe 3 times a year. And then
Oh.
you can do the in-person one for $350, or you can do the workshop one for $99 a month, and however long it takes you to go through the materials, how long it takes you to go through the materials. So anyway, I've been since I was putting that stuff up there, I had to put it on Vimeo because I didn't want to do just Patreon for some of this stuff, and Patreon
Yeah.
won't actually allow you to load video there anyway. You have to link it. So,
Ah.
and YouTube is more difficult, it seems like, to restrict the domains you can play stuff on. But with Vimeo, I was able to pay for a low end account and then restrict the domains. So that way people can't, and they can't download the video. I mean, they can screen capture it, I guess, but
Yeah.
you can't download it. You can't comment on it. You can't find it on Vimeo. You can't do anything, but you can also not play it anywhere except for the domains that I choose you to play it on.
Oh.
Yeah, so that really locks it down, and because these are paid resources, I don't want people to just take them and do whatever they want with them. So that was the best way to do it. And then Vimeo comes back to me because I had like the
Yeah.
the pro account or something like that, and they came back to me and said, "Listen, you need to upgrade to our business or commercial accounts because you're embedding all your videos, and that's a sure sign that you're making money off them." And I was like, "Oh, you bastards! All right." I tried to appeal it, and they're like, "No." So I had to upgrade to like the $20 a month count.
Nah.
But because of that, I got more upload limits, and I got
Ooh.
access to their create a video thing, which was super cool. So
Yeah.
one of the things I made was the first Team Black video I made. I was just trying to see how it works, and I
Yeah.
wasn't even really going to use it. And I hit create a video, and then you can create from scratch and use your own videos.
Yeah.
Or it had like just Google search right there.
Yeah.
But because they have a lot of licensed stuff that they have. And I just
Yeah.
typed in archaeology, and these really cool like archaeology that are license free, these videos came up. And so that first one that I put up on Instagram a few days ago,
Yeah.
that's like that vintage looking one.
Yeah.
That's where I got those. I basically chose 4 different ones. I said I want the orientation to be square and I want it to be 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
And it went through and just made this video. And I chose music. They got a ton of music you can put behind it.
Wow.
And then I put some text on there, and you can do some minor formatting on the text. And then I was able to just share it out to Instagram. So
Wow.
so now I'm taking, and then I did one video too this week that was like a collection of a bunch of different videos
Yeah.
that I have. I did that for my workshop. I mean, I have like an 8-hour set of videos for my workshop, and
Yeah.
I made a 60-second trailer out of it in about 5 minutes
Interesting.
without doing any editing.
Oh wait, is it RPA certified yet?
It is not. Well, the podcast is not. Team Black's not either. I don't feel like I have enough material up there to really start talking to the RPA yet, but I hope
Yeah.
to by summertime probably. So
That's coming sooner than
yeah,
you think.
I know it is. And I might talk to him at the SAAs anyway, just to
Ooh.
see what's going on because there's a new
Oh.
president.
Interesting. You headed the NAAs, Nevada Archaeological Association.
No, I'm going
meeting?
to be in Orlando for a podcast conference.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And
So
more importantly, who wants to go to
Pahrump.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so Team Black, the videos are coming hot and heavy now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put them out more than once a week until I get like a ton of people on there.
Yeah.
It's just not worth my time right now to
Yeah.
divide those resources.
Yeah.
But I think I can do once a week because I've got a lot of good material that I've been working on.
Yeah.
And the videos, we had a ton of videos that we did for PCS. Of course, I can't and won't use any of those.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean it's just not that group of people anymore,
Yeah.
you know. So, but I do have new ones that I've been working on, new categories of videos I've been working on, and I've been working on for the last like 6-7 months. I just haven't had the time to shoot them and edit them.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of moving my attention span around a little bit and getting back into it.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned how you can make a video on Vimeo, because one of those things, I know that Adobe gets a lot of complaints online, and I have to admit, since since I switched off Premiere Pro, I have to admit, my God, like they are behind the curve on everything.
Yeah.
Like last night, for people who don't know, I switched to DaVinci Resolve lately. And it's basically been rebuilt from the ground up, and like the whole architecture is new, and it takes advantage of all the new technologies. And so for the first time ever, because I've been using Premiere Pro for a long time, and for the first time last night I was editing with DaVinci Resolve, it said, graphics card full. You might want to remove some of the effects. I'm like, wow, that's never happened. Like literally, DaVinci basically shows all the holes that are on my computer.
Nice.
Like all of them. And the crazy part is that even when I slow DaVinci Resolve down to like handle my computer, my hardware, it's still 2/3 faster to do everything than Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
And it's like incredibly streamlined, and it's free.
Well, and I think one of the things, taking this back to archaeology a little bit, one of the things that I always talk about on like the Archaeotech podcast is
Yeah.
using the right tool for the right job.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I like about this creative video on Vimeo.
Yeah.
Like I could take all my video and I could cut out the choicest bits of it and make this 30-second trailer. Probably take me 2-3 hours, just
Yeah.
putting these things together and then getting my transitions right and get my
Yeah.
text right. But you know what? I got like several hundred views on that one video, and I don't know how many likes, but just putting it out on a channel that has literally no followers,
Yeah.
and then sharing that out in a couple of places, and I was like, this can be simple. It doesn't need to be crazy. I'm going to put it out once. People are going to scroll past it and watch it, and then it's never going to be seen again.
Oh, that reminds me. Are you still using Anchor?
Anchor as the podcasting platform, Anchor?
Yeah.
I never once used it.
Oh.
No, Anchor's garbage.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Yeah, that's not speaking of anything, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I could have sworn you were using it. Was it something else you were using?
I used Chirp for a little while.
Ah.
Chirp is like a micro podcasting platform, which I think the Life in Ruins guys would really love.
Oh,
And
interesting, because I thought
An-
that was Anchor.
No, Anchor's a very different thing. Amy Wolpert from Sacramento says hi. How's it going, Amy?
Oh, hello there.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go soon because
Oh, yeah.
my wife and I got somebody coming over to the house here shortly. So
I mean, it's 5:30.
I know it's 5:30. She's gonna be pretty upset if I don't get home in the next like 15 minutes. So,
Yeah.
that's it for this. I think at the very
Yeah.
least we came up with another streaming methodology here. The one thing you don't get is these microphones, which are really nice. But I don't know how Richie's phone is doing, but I think the sound from the GoPro is not terrible.
Well, I mean, I was taking B-roll with this camera when I was doing a few things, and actually, as long as it's not windy, it's surprisingly good.
Yeah,
Yeah. But then again,
So-
LG is supposedly known for their audio they built into their phones.
yeah. So David says they'll check out Chirp. Let me tell you, for people that don't know about Chirp, and I never really got into it. I did a few things on there,
Yeah.
but again, it was just one more thing that was work for me. But the thing I do like about it, they were 33-minute, no longer than 3-minute long podcasts. They're calling them. They're calling it micro podcasting, and it used to be that you had to record, edit, and put everything up right from the Chirp app.
Yeah.
But now you can actually post process. So I did a few where I was taking pieces of podcasts and
Yeah.
then as I was editing, I was finding some nice quotes or something like that from the thing, and then putting it up behind, because you can put it behind an image too. And that's the
Yeah.
cool thing is Chirp is kind of a stupid idea, to be honest. It's like just these short little things. Like, what am I going to do with that? But the cool thing about Chirp is they really got sharing right.
Ah.
So if you share that out to Twitter and Facebook and other places, it's got a nice little player embedded right in there, and you can just listen to it right there.
Oh,
And
it's gonna
that's
s-
super cool.
I was gonna say it almost sounds like the audio version of TikTok.
It kind of is, to be honest. It
Yeah.
totally is. Yeah, they've got their own music that you can layer into
Yeah.
it. All these things that you can do. And what I like too is they also did another thing really well is the chirp feed, and
Ah.
it's the chirp feed is just like whoever you're subscribing to, it will just play them one after the other, just like any podcast player
Yeah.
would. But they do a really good job at it. So,
Ooh.
all right, well, I think that's it for the this version of the archaeology show. Thanks, Richie, for pivoting and getting us a show out today.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody for listening. Thanks all of you who joined in and are listening and paying attention and commenting.
Yeah.
Super cool. Check out the Life in Ruins podcast because those guys are on here now. And if I don't say that, they'll I think we're in breach of contract. I'm not really sure.
Oh, really?
No, not at all. So
Oh, and don't forget, was it the Dirt podcast is up again?
yeah, it is. In fact, while we were sitting here, they uploaded Monday's episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw it come over my thing.
Oh, cool.
And Chuck Hutchison says, "Imagine if Life in Ruins had Bill White as a guest. Imagine that. You guys should have Bill White on as a guest. So
Ah.
that would be fantastic."
Ooh.
Anyway, thanks everybody, and thanks to the live stream. I'm probably going to screw up the end of this live stream, but for the podcast audience, you're going to get a nice outro with good music coming up right now. Okay, for you live streamers, let me figure this out.
Oh, interesting, because I can just hit
Yeah.
end. But I did want to say,
I'm sure I can too.
look
Bye,
out.
everybody.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say look out because you were mentioning uploading a video a week. At the rate I'm increasing my production and the amount of fun I'm having editing,
Mm-hmm.
like I pretty much feel like I can hit a video a week now because like I already was twice a month. Like I've got all the videos almost produced all the way up till December,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's just like filling in. And now it's like wow, I like literally just like topics are just flowing.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah. So look
All
out for
right.
a video a week.
There you go.
Wednesdays.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
How much battery?